I love telling stories, so let's begin with one. My foundation, my personal brand, began in a Chinese restaurant that served the most amazing orange beef. And that was my family's restaurant. And it was there that I wrapped wontons, got promoted twice by my mom to take-out girl, and then a waitress. And it was also there that I saw my mom, my dad, my aunties, and my uncles work 6 to 7 days a week, 12 to 15-hour days. It was absolutely grueling. And it impacted me in the most profound way and showed me the value of work. And so I did work very hard. I decided after working a few years to go back to grad school. Then I landed in New York City in the Big Apple. It was my dream to be in the fashion industry. And I did. I worked, I was grinding. There were great days, but there were days it was like hell, okay? And so I took another turn and I said, I want to earn the PhD. I did, became a mom. And now I am a professor here at Hult International Business School. I'm exhausted, okay? Are you exhausted? That was a lot. And throughout my journey, what I learned was my path was not linear. It wasn't a straight line. It was more like kindergarten art. You know what I'm talking about? When the 5-year-old gets to that Crayola box with the white piece of paper and they just go like this. That was me. Those were my adventures and that was my journey. And as a result of that, I had many, many challenges. And it was trying to get to the next position, going into the interview, explaining, constantly explaining, answering the question, why? And it took me many, many years to figure it out. And then it came to me that I wanted to fit into this mold, but I could not. I could not fit into this mold. And so what happened over this time was it finally dawned on me when I began to embrace the kindergarten art, embrace myself, embrace all of those adventures, that this framework came to mind that I developed, and it is called the VLR framework. What does that stand for? V is for value, L is for likability, and R is for relevancy. And as I continue this TED Talk, I will tell you some more stories about myself, and I want them to be examples, and I want them to trigger you to think about how you can use the VLR framework. So value is simply what you put on the table. That's just it, all right? But I also want you to think about value. Value is not constant, it is fluid. And so as you move with your audience, understand that value is what you put out to your audience. It will not always be the same. And so you have to be flowing with it. The value that I provide is empowerment. I love empowering others, and as an educator, that's what I do. I tell my students that you have no boundaries. And I tell my students that your potential is infinity and that no one can stop you. And I remember a few summers ago, I was teaching a luxury marketing class, and a student came to me and said, "I'm not like you." And I said, well, nobody is. Nobody. There's only one Dr. P. But I said, well, what's happening here? What's going on? She's like, I know you are a major creative, and I'm not a creative. And I said, that's okay. And I said, well, what do you do? What is your background? What do you study? I'm a finance major. I said, okay. And I said, well, numbers can be creative too. So I said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to execute, and I want you to deliver for me. And I said, go forth, do it. She looked at me, okay. And I remember that final assignment, I was blown away, sat in front of my computer screen, literally blown away. For what she did was she took these numbers and created the most beautiful stories about sports cars and how a marketing professional could use it, and pieced it all together with the color psychology lesson I taught her. And I remember the last day I said, you are creative. She goes, yes, I am. And that is the value I bring. So I want you all to think about the value that you bring. In likability, it's simple. Likability is simple, but it has some layers. And let me talk about the layers. Likability is about you putting out there the most positive perception about your personal brand. It is a positive perception about your personal brand. But likability starts with approachability. If you are approachable, people will want to talk to you. People will want to engage with you. If people are talking to you and approaching you, this can lead to creating professional or personal relationships, okay? And with that, you begin to cultivate those personal or professional relationships. And as you continue on this journey, your likability will enable you to have influence. You can make decisions. And so this can only start from the beginning if you are open. And likability is about openness. Likability is about connecting with people. Let me show you, or let me tell you, how I use likability. It's through laughter. I love making people laugh. I love putting smiles on people's faces. It's the same way I started this TED Talk when I talked about orange beef and kindergarten art, and I saw all of you smile and laugh, and it is about making sure that we are open to each other. And one of the simplest ways that you can practice likability is smiling. Can I get a smile? Beautiful smiles. Smiling makes people happy. Smiling is infectious. Smiling is a way to begin the gateway for openness. And that is all about likability. When we go to relevancy, let me explain this in a little bit of a different way. So every year you have to go for that annual checkup. Yes, I don't see smiles right now. But you have to do it. And I rescheduled mine 3 times already. I promise I won't do it again. But if you don't get a check on your personal brand, it does not do any good for you. You have to understand where you bench up against your competition and where you are in terms of the goals that you want to achieve. And also, you need to understand how your audience is reacting to you. The best way that I can explain relevancy is think about when you leave the room and what they're saying about you. That person is cool. Man, that person has incredible brand heat. That's the person that I want for next year's speaking engagement, whatever it may be. That is part of the relevancy. But if you don't get the check, what happens is, I call it the personal brand black hole. and you do not want to be there, okay? So relevancy is absolutely key. Let me tell you about how I know that I'm relevant. Relevancy for me as an educator is communication with my students. It is important, very important for me. And a few weeks ago, I received an email, and it was from a student that graduated a year ago from HULT International Business School. And she writes to me, "Dear Dr. P, you have made a mark on me, a profound impact. You have changed me for the better and have made me a stronger person." And then she writes some details about what she's been up to, with love and her name. And let me tell you, it was absolutely a waterproof mascara day. For the tears rolled down my cheeks, and I was so touched by that note. And that part of relevancy, you see, is connected to this VLR framework. Because without value, without me empowering the students, that would not have happened. Without me being likable, opening the class in a warm way, making sure that I'm speaking and getting in touch with my students, it would not have happened. So you see, the VLR framework all works together. It has to. They cannot be apart from each other, and this framework has done many positive things for me. It has helped me elevate my confidence. It has helped me to advance in my career. So when you think of your personal brand, do think about V, L, and R. Thank you so very, very much.